Most awakenings do not just magically appear, they don't just happen. They usually are a direct result from something that is kind of like final in your life. When your life feels like it has fallen apart, or you feel like you are falling apart, that is usually when awakenings happen. It is often a direct result of something that has happened that is devastating, whether it's injuries, health problems, breakups, anything that can feel like you are just broken. That is usually when awakenings happen. The problem is that the majority of us tend to get stuck in that feeling of hopelessness, that bitterness, that confusion, that disillusionment. But what if, when your life falls apart, it creates an actual doorway for you to then be able to create the life that you've always wanted? That is what we're talking about today. Well, welcome back to Paradise Perspectives. I'm Rachel, your host, your island friend, your confidant, and today we are talking about awakenings. First of all, we need to actually define what awakening is, and I'm going to give you the definition as I see it. Awakening is when you can no longer unsee the things that have been happening in your life, when you become aware that there is a little bit more than just what you have been living in and out every day. It is when the life that you've been living so far doesn't actually fit anymore. That is usually an awakening. And usually awakenings are hella uncomfortable because it tells you that the illusion that you have created is just that, an illusion, and it is not actual reality. I will give you an example straight out of my personal life. My awakening happened when my husband and I separated. And when I realized that the marriage that we've been having, that the life that we have built together was an illusion. It is not based on the reality that I thought we had. And that was the moment that I woke up. That was my awakening. So awakenings are rarely gentle. Awakenings happen after a breakup. They can happen after loss, after betrayal, after injury, health problems, big disappointments. When one of your big dreams comes crashing down, they usually come at with finalities. Finalities in the sense of something has been finalized, and it's usually with some kind of pain and devastation. It's when your life feels like it has collapsed and you are then left in that rubble and with questions like, how the F are you supposed to go on after this? Now, here's the thing about awakening. Awakening is also the part when you start realizing that, hey, wait a second. This is a moment that has now cleared way for me to dream something new. This is the time when I get to create a new life. This is the beginning of something amazing if I decide to actually do that. Because awakenings, or when something devastating happens in your life, it clears the path for something new to come in. And that is where, unfortunately, a lot of us miss the opportunity. Because when something devastating happens, we are often just getting into the blame game. We go into the look what happened to me scenario. We play the victim and we stay stuck in that victim mentality. We also start blaming others. We point the finger at other situations or things or people. We have so much anger in us, so much bitterness, so much resentment. And it is very easy to stay stuck in that because anger actually is one of those feelings or emotions that covers something more vulnerable. You see, with anger, it's strong. It is, you can depend on anger. Anger has your back. But what you're actually covering up, the sadness, the hurt, the fears, those make you vulnerable. So, of course, these are not things that you want just out in the open. So, a lot of us tend to just stay in that little stew of resentment, of bitterness, when actually what we have is a unique opportunity to create something beautiful, something new, something that we actually love. I think it's important for us to remember that when something devastating happens and we are find ourselves in that anger and that bitterness, why not create something better? Instead of being bitter, why not be better? Instead of feeling buried, why not use that opportunity to grow something new? When you choose to not sit in that bitterness, in that resentment, that is the opportune time for growth to happen. So, of course, we can go on and on talking about awakenings and devastating moments in life and all of that stuff. But what you actually need from me today are the steps that have helped me navigate my way through all of that bitterness and all of that blame game and actually come out on the other side of fear, of sadness, of anger, and then start building something that I'm actually really, really proud of right now. My awakening happened about 3 years ago, and I can honestly tell you that right now I'm living a life that I actually adore. I love waking up to in this new life that I have created for myself. And no, it doesn't mean that I am super happy and joyful every single day. It doesn't mean that the life now that I've created that I love so much means that I am not having bad days. Bad days will continue to happen. But now, once you start practicing what I'm about to tell you and what I'm about to share with you, then you can actually turn that on its head and instead of getting stuck in that negativity, turn it into something positive. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. Number one thing that is so important that people actually don't want to do is feel what is under the anger, under the resentment, and under the bitterness, which is usually sadness, hurt, and fear. It is important to feel those feelings, feel those emotions, and don't run away from them. We often run away from this issue. It is like I compare this with the buffalo. You see, like most people are like cows. When a storm is gathering, when a storm is coming, cows just lie all together in like a heap of cows. A heap of cows. I wonder if that's how we describe, a group of cows together. But anyway, stick with me here. A group of cows, they'll come together and they'll just hurdle together and they'll just kind of like try to survive the storm. While the buffalo actually runs through it because it knows that it cannot escape it. There's no way around it, there's no way above it, there's no way under it. There is no way to escape it. So what do? They know that to go through it, they'll go through the pain. It might be intense, but they'll come out of it quicker. And a lot of people don't realize that, but by feeling those sadness, that hurt, and all of that negative emotions that people run away from often, that is actually when you're going to start feeling better about yourself. So, number one, don't run away from your emotions. Do not run away from those feelings that make you feel vulnerable. Don't run away from them. Feel them. You need to feel to heal. Number two, did you know that every time you recount a story of something that happened to you that is terrible, like in my case, for instance, the breakup of my marriage, my marriage falling apart, every time I told somebody the story, it was as if I was reliving it in that moment. Your body doesn't know time. Your body does not know that this happened 3 years ago, 5 years ago, yesterday, or it's happening now. So every time when you're retelling the story, whether you're telling it to somebody or to yourself, you are feeling the same emotions again. All of that anger comes up, the blaming, the resentment, the bitterness. It keeps staying in your body. Now, what if you stop repeating the blame story? And another thing that I want to remind you, especially when it comes to the blame game, is when you're pointing to something or somebody else, you have 3 or 4 fingers, depending on how you're holding a hand. You have other fingers that are pointing directly at you. And no, I am not telling you that this was your fault. No, at all. I'm not telling you that. I wouldn't dare. It is probably not. But you did maybe have a role that you played in the situation that has happened. in your life as you knew it falling apart, in your relationship ending, in your health situation crumbling, any of that, you may have had a role, however small or big, that you played in it. And I'm not telling you to start blaming yourself for it. No, 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 no. I'm telling you to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for the small little role that you played, and stop blaming others or anything else for what happened to you. you know the big thing, the big lesson that we get when we start to have this awakening happen, is that we realize that things don't happen to us, they happen for us. Once you start rewarding that to yourself, you're going to see that, hey, you're going to start seeing all of the opportunities that are going to happen for you after a devastating moment. Which brings me exactly to number three. Ask yourself, what is this showing me? What new path is it showing me? What new possibilities are coming up right now? After my separation, and right now, yes, we did find ourselves coming back together a couple of years after, but the part that was super important was not the fact whether we get back together or not, or whether I continue with somebody else or any of that. The relationship didn't become, it wasn't the center of my life anymore. All of a sudden, I started realizing, but hey, wait a second. Now that I'm not dedicating my life to my husband or to whatever his dreams are, I can finally work on mine. And I've always been a person to work on my dreams, but let me be completely honest. And this is the role that I played in the ending of the relationship as we knew it, was that I would always put him and his dreams first. Mine were always second. They were always kind of like in the back, in the background there somewhere. So I realized that this is the opportunity, that instead of all of the attention and all of the energy that I was actually putting into my relationship, my marriage, this person, my husband, I could actually now focus all of that energy on me and what I wanted to create. So I started to dive really on dedicating 100% of my time to building a business, to pivoting from what I was doing to actually doing what I've always wanted to do, which is to help women create a life that they love. So I want you to ask yourself again, what is this showing me? Number four, this is the best moment also when you are finding yourself in a finality of some sort, when your life falls apart as you know it. This is the moment when you are also going to ask and see what no longer fits. You're going to start creating boundaries. You're going to start seeing people that are actually not really good for you to have around you, that didn't really have your best interest at heart. You're going to start recognizing that as well. You're going to start to see people for who they are. You're going to start seeing certain situations for what they are and what they mean in your life. And then you are going to start checking what no longer fits here somehow, you know? You are actually going to start seeing who you want to become or who you are becoming. And in that new becoming, what is what are parts of yourself or of your life that you don't want to bring into this new identity that you're building after a devastating moment. And now that you have seen or decided what no longer fits to come along with you in the next chapter, you can now also start taking steps that are conducive to you getting to where you want to get. So if your main concern is to get over the pain of a heartbreak, for instance, you could start, uh, you know, doing taking more steps, small little steps, not big steps. We want to take small little steps that are going to help us get over the pain of a heartbreak. We are going to take small little steps to get over the fact that our boss didn't decide to give the promotion to us, but to somebody else. We are going to take tiny little steps to recover after a health situation that might have gone terribly wrong. We're going to take small little steps to creating that new life that we want after the life that we are actually now leaving behind. And of course, there are so many other things that we can do, but I do want to add one more that is, to me, one of the essential parts of being able to let go of the life that no longer fits and really going deep into your awakening, and that is gratitude. Gratitude is so important. Seeing what you still have, what is good in your life. If the end of a marriage or a relationship is what you are struggling with at the moment, if that was your finality, then perhaps look at it in a different way and see what you are grateful for. Maybe you are grateful for it coming to an end because now you have the opportunity to go after dreams that you have actually put aside. Maybe if your health situation was bad, but now you're slowly recovering, be thankful that you're still alive, that you still have your legs, your arms, your sight, your senses, whatever that you are, that you have in your body, to be grateful for. If you were bypassed and somebody else got a promotion instead of you, maybe something to be grateful for is that you have learned the lesson of perhaps how to be better at your job. There is always a whole list of things that you can be grateful for. And a lot of times it doesn't even have to be related to whatever it is that has caused you pain or bitterness or resentment. It's usually the small little things like I have a roof over my head, I have food in the fridge, I have a car to take me to this job or to drive around with, I have money in my pocket to buy the stuff that I need, I have my health, thank God. You have so much to be grateful for. So focus on what you have and not on the what you don't have. That is also a big part of realizing or shifting your mindset towards this is an opportunity rather than a loss. So it's important to reframe your mindset. Instead of actually thinking that losing something is the universe failing you in some way, maybe see it as the universe actually granting you this beautiful blank canvas to paint with. And you can paint whatever new thing you want on it. So this is your slate has been wiped clean. You can start over. And starting over for a lot of people, especially if you tend to stay in that blame game, in that resentment and bitterness, you are not able to see how big of an opportunity this actually is. But what if this is a clean slate that you now get to paint on and to create something from? It is actually very exciting. Instead of it being scared, instead of you being scared of this clean slate, why not swap it around for excitement? You are not afraid. You're excited for this new start. And new starts, I want to tell you just this briefly. New beginnings, a new start, starting over does not mean that you're starting from scratch. You are starting from knowledge. You are starting from experience. You are starting never, ever from scratch. Okay? It's something really important to remember. Listen, that's the beauty about awakening. Awakening does come often with a little bit of pain, but there is also a little bit of pain in growth. All right. So there's also a whole lot of fear behind growth because you are stepping outside of this really comfortable life that you have built, and the universe has decided that for some whatever reason you didn't learn the lessons along the way. So I'm gonna just cause one big moment of devastation in your life to just kind of like completely blow it apart. And then you need to start over. And then this is the moment that hopefully you're going to learn what you need to learn and you're going to build what you need to build. A lot of times it's the universe, source, God, whatever you want to call it, redirecting you into the direction that you need to head into. But again, a lot of us decide that we are too afraid, too angry, too sad, too hurt to take the step to make something beautiful out of a disaster. I want you, my friend, to be the opposite. I want you not to be one of these people that stays in that bitterness, because there's nothing good that can come after it. And the reason why I decided to do this episode is also because I have seen it in so many friends. I've seen it in so many people, especially women in the Caribbean. I've seen how we just clung or cling, is that a word? Excuse me, English is not my first language, but we tend to cling to that insecurity, to that bitterness, to that resentment, and to that anger. And we start wearing it as our shield so that we cannot get hurt again. Oh, guess what? You can still get hurt. And wearing that armor of bitterness is just, it gets really, really exhausting. So let that go and be vulnerable for a bit and dare to feel those negative emotions that everybody runs away from. Dare to feel the pain and the hurt, and then, you know, see it for what it is. It's a clean slate, a blank canvas, a moment of awakening, a new possibility that has actually been put in your path. Now, if this episode has resonated with you in any way, now I want to ask you a big favor. Just share it with somebody who you think might get something valuable out of it too. If this is the case and you're watching this on YouTube right now, I want to invite you to subscribe. And if you are listening on Apple Podcast or on Spotify, did you know that you can actually leave a comment or a review, and you can actually leave a couple of stars, whatever you decide this podcast deserves? You can do that, and it will help me out tremendously, because first of all, it is going to tell me that it is appreciated and that I'm not just coming on here just talking about nonsense, about things that I believe in, but I do want this podcast to be something that you can listen to that is going to help you on your growth journey. That is basically what this podcast is about. Now, before I let you go to do whatever it is that you were doing before you started watching this video on YouTube or listening to this podcast episode, before I let you go, I want to just remind you about the Island Awakening Retreat that I am hosting from June 3rd until the 7th, right here on my beautiful island of St. Martin. And I'm doing that with my great friend, Jennifer Liss. Now, together, we have done two of these retreat before. We started in 2024, we had it in 2025, and now we are having our third annual in 2026. And I really want to urge why it's important for you to be part of it. No, it is not only because it's 4 days of magic, it's 4 days of being on a Caribbean island. It is 4 days of actually investing in yourself and dedicating time to yourself, which is precious on its own. It is also, of course, 4 days of beach and a lot of fun. Yes, all of that good stuff, but it is also 4 days in which Jennifer and I share all of our expertise and our knowledge into how we got to now live the life that we absolutely love waking up to in the morning. We are going to share that with you. And from experience, I can tell you that we've seen it firsthand from the two other retreats that we've planned. We've seen the beautiful breakthroughs and the beautiful transformations, and the women who have found their awakening after not realizing it, or that have gone on to making their dreams a reality, or at least start working towards a dream and taking action after action to actually get there, and really getting really far into building whatever it is that they're building. And I want that for you. There is also, of course, the unique experiences that you're going to have here in St. Martin, and not to forget that St. Martin is the gourmet capital of the Caribbean. Now, if you are listening to this and you are already living here, now you know how magical this island is. And I want you to know that, yes, this is for you as well. This is not just for people flying in. This is also for local women and Caribbean women, especially. I want you to know that this is for you too. And so we've decided to this year introduce the day pass. So if you are like, you know what, I already know all the restaurants that you guys are going to go to. I already pretty much have had my beach time because I live here. I live where everybody else vacations. Then you can just grab a day pass, because a day pass is only going to grant you the most important part, which is the part where we get together and form the sisterhood and do the activities that matter and building, action steps to creating the life that we want for ourselves or to realizing our dreams. And if that's the part that you want to be a part of, then you can absolutely do that by doing a day pass or, of course, just joining us for the complete retreat. And finally, what I want to share with you about this retreat is that this year we're focusing on dream realization. Yes, we are going to go over everything that is necessary for you to start realizing those beautiful dreams that you set for yourself for 2026 or those beautiful big goals that you have set for 2026. Okay. And I'll be back next week with another interesting topic, I'm sure. But if you have a topic that you're like, Rizal, you need to talk about that next, I am all ears. And you can send me a message to hello@thetravelingislandgirl.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm pointing to it right now. So you can just send me an email there. Or, of course, you can visit me on social media, which I will leave all of those links in the description of this video or in the show notes if you are listening to the podcast. Thank you so much. I love you so much. If nobody has told you that before, I know we don't know each other personally, but I do have mad love for you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Bye.